Stop what you're doing. Listen, not to me, to that pull inside your soul you've been ignoring for far too long. You were not put on this earth to drift, to doubt, or to dull your light to match the mediocrity around you. You were placed here with an assignment, a sacred task, a mission that whispers to you in quiet hours and shouts through your dissatisfaction. Most people move through life like sleepwalkers, reacting, surviving, pretending they don't feel the emptiness rising in their chest, but not you, not anymore. Because I'm telling you now, you must begin to live like you're on a mission from God, not later. Now every step you take must carry the weight of divine purpose. Every word you speak must echo the clarity of higher conviction. Every time you fall, you must rise, not just for yourself, but because your calling demands it. You are not random, you are not insignificant, and you are absolutely not powerless. The moment you shift your identity from wandering soul to chosen vessel, everything changes. Distractions lose their grip. Doubt shrinks. Fear folds. Because when you believe you were sent here to fulfill something greater than comfort, you stop making decisions like a coward. You start moving like a warrior of purpose. And let me tell you, the world fears the man who walks like his steps are guided by destiny. The world can't stop the woman who burns with the fire of holy ambition. The world bends to those who act as if their breath is borrowed and their time is sacred. You are not meant to blend in. You are not meant to tiptoe through life hoping not to disturb anything. You are meant to command your life like it was gifted to you for a reason, because it was. This isn't some motivational fluff. This is the deep, unshakable truth. You were born with something the world needs, and it will remain locked inside you until you treat your life as a mission. Not a suggestion, not a maybe, a mission. So from this moment forward, your thoughts must sharpen, your actions must align, your spirit must lead, because the clock is ticking, and heaven doesn't make mistakes. I've walked among kings and cowards. I've seen the eyes of the hopeless and the gaze of the unstoppable, and I'll tell you what separates them. It isn't talent, it isn't luck, it's conviction, the unshakable belief that they are here for something more. When a man believes his steps are guided by a higher call, his posture changes, his words gain weight, his time becomes holy, and he will no longer entertain things that drain the essence of his spirit. Look around you. Most people have no idea what they're doing here. They chase what's loud, not what's lasting. They follow trends, not truth. They scroll through meaningless moments while their purpose starves to death in the background. But you don't have that luxury anymore, because once you've been awakened to the idea that you are not random, you can never again play small without pain. You can never again sit in silence without hearing the echo of your own potential screaming for air. This is your burden, yes, but it is also your power. And if you want to fulfill this divine assignment, you must become a disciplined soul, disciplined in thought, disciplined in speech, disciplined in silence. Because God does not hand out missions to those who squander time. Every hour you spend doubting yourself is an hour your purpose is delayed. Every moment you entertain weakness is a moment your strength is buried. Every time you compromise, you send a signal to your soul, I'm not ready. And let me be painfully clear, the world doesn't wait for those who aren't ready. It devours them. But the one who acts as if he's on a mission, he becomes untouchable. His failures are only recalibrations. His setbacks are tests of resolve. His silence is not weakness. It is strategy. Because he knows something the world forgot, that the greatest power isn't in proving, it's in preparing. And while they laugh, while they mock, while they sleep, you build, you train, you rise. Not because it's easy, but because you were sent here to rise. Now the question is, do you believe it enough to act like it, to fight like it, to sacrifice like it, to live like it? Because once you do, nothing on this earth will have the strength to stop what you've set in motion. They won't understand you. They're not meant to, because when you act like you're on a mission from God, you threaten everything they've settled for. They'll call you intense, too focused, too disciplined, too serious. Why? Because your life becomes a mirror, and when others see you rising, they see themselves standing still. Your fire exposes their excuses. Your clarity exposes their confusion. And so they'll try to pull you back, not out of malice, but because they've never seen someone walk like destiny is burning in their bones. But you can't afford to be gentle with your purpose. You can't tone down truth just to be liked. You weren't put here to entertain. You were put here to elevate. And that kind of elevation costs something. It costs comfort. It costs conformity. It costs the old version of you, the one that played it safe, kept it small, and waited for permission. That version has to die right now. Because the version of you that fulfills this mission is not polite with his time. She is not apologetic for her power. He does not explain his fire to those who fear the heat. This calling demands everything. It demands you wake up when no one's watching, train when no one believes in you, speak when your voice trembles, move forward even when the path is lit by nothing but faith. Let me tell you something eternal. God does not give easy missions. He gives worthy ones. So, if your path feels heavy, if your journey feels lonely, if your mind is at war, that's confirmation, not condemnation. You are not cursed. You are being carved, not punished, prepared, not rejected, refined. And what is being built inside of you through the silence, through the struggle, through the solitary battles, will become the force that shakes nations, heals hearts, and opens the gates of greatness for generations to come. So hold the line, stay the course, protect the flame, because missions like yours don't need noise. They need obedience. They need surrender. They need a soul who says, even if no one sees it yet, I will keep walking like I was sent here, because you were. And your steps, if you stay faithful, will lead you exactly where you were meant to go. The grind isn't just physical. The true battle is spiritual. Every morning you rise is a declaration, a rebellion against everything trying to keep you small. When you live like you're on a mission from God, you don't wait for motivation. You create it. You don't beg for signs. You become one. And you don't ask for the path to be easy. You ask for the strength to walk it anyway. This kind of power isn't for the faint of heart. It's not for the one who flinches at the first sign of resistance. It's for the one who bleeds purpose, who treats discipline like prayer and routine like ritual. You show me a man who keeps his promise to himself. I'll show you a man who's been touched by fire. You show me a woman who trains her mind when no one's clapping. I'll show you a queen walking with heaven on her shoulders. It's not about how loud you are. It's about how aligned you are. You can be invisible to the world and still be invincible in your mission, because the mission isn't validated by applause. It's validated by obedience, by how you show up when it's boring, by how you keep going when it's brutal, by how you speak life when you feel empty. That's the holy grind. That's the sacred weight. That's what turns average men into unbreakable forces. And let me say this. If you think you need perfect conditions, you're not on a mission. You're on vacation. Purpose doesn't need comfort. It needs commitment. And the deeper your commitment, the louder the universe responds. Because once you act as if you're on a mission from God, you activate forces within you that have been waiting for you to believe. Your cells awaken, your mind sharpens, your soul catches fire, and suddenly, you don't need validation. You don't need permission. You don't even need a map, because now you are the signal. You are the standard. You are the walking embodiment of what it means to be chosen, to be charged, to be called. Focus is no longer a luxury. It is your weapon. It is the invisible sword that cuts through the noise, through the doubt, through the seduction of comfort that ruins great destinies. When you act like you're on a mission from God, you don't get the privilege of distraction. You don't entertain gossip. You don't scroll for validation. You guard your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Every ounce of your focus is fuel for the assignment. You cannot waste it on what others think. You cannot spill it chasing things that feel good but build nothing. Listen to me. The world is dying for people with divine focus. People who don't flinch when the winds of fear howl. People who don't chase 10 things and finish none. People who walk into chaos with eyes locked on the mountain, and you are becoming that person. But it won't happen by accident. It happens when you decide every single day that the mission is greater than the mood, that purpose is louder than pressure, that your identity as a chosen one demands full devotion. You were not built for half-hearted living. You were not designed for indecision. You were born to lead your mind, to master your choices, to walk through fire and come out with your focus unshaken. And this kind of focus, it's not just about goals. It's about God. It's about tuning your soul so deeply to the divine frequency that anything out of alignment sounds like noise to you. It's about being so clear on who you are and why you're here that you can't be bought, can't be broken, and can't be stopped. And yes, the enemy will come. Doubt will knock. Temptation will whisper. But none of it can touch a soul that's already decided, I will not lose myself to anything that doesn't serve my assignment. You see, the mission isn't just something you do, it's who you become. And every time you protect your focus, you prove to heaven that you're serious, that you're not just inspired, you're initiated, you're entrusted, you're ready. There's a strength no gym can build, a fire no motivational quote can spark. It is spiritual fortitude. The kind forged in silence, in solitude, in surrender. You want to act like you're on a mission from God? Then stop looking for ease. Start looking for endurance. Because when your life is fueled by divine intent, resistance is not an obstacle. It's the signal that you're getting closer. Spiritual fortitude isn't about brute force. It's about immovable belief. It's about showing up when everything in you wants to vanish. It's about trusting the process even when the promise feels distant. Understand this. When God gives a mission, he also gives fire. But that fire must be fed. And it's fed not with noise, but with devotion. Devotion to growth, to clarity, to walking in alignment when no one understands your path. Because most won't. They'll question your silence. They'll mock your discipline. They'll laugh at your refusal to conform. But you were not called to blend in. You were called to stand out, to carve light into darkness, to move with such power and grace that even the shadows part to make way. Don't you dare let the world convince you that your fire is too much. Don't you let comfort wrap its arms around you and name it peace. Real peace comes after the war. Real strength is born in the valley. And real calling is tested in the desert, where the only voice you hear is the one inside. And the only light you see is the one you carry. That's spiritual fortitude. And once you taste it, once you live it, you become unshakable. Not because life got easier, but because your roots went deeper. This is what separates the ones who talk about purpose from the ones who embody it. Not talent, not timing, but tenacity, but truth, but trust. So I ask you now, are you willing to go deeper than you've ever gone? Are you willing to burn away everything that isn't aligned with your divine mission? Because that's the cost. But the reward is walking through this world with divine certainty, with the courage to speak when silence is easier, with the strength to build when others break, and with the peace that comes from knowing you're not just existing, you're fulfilling. You can't wait for destiny to knock on your door. You have to become the one who answers with fire in your eyes and purpose in your step. Because the mission isn't coming to you wrapped in comfort and convenience. It's coming through sweat, sacrifice, and a relentless refusal to quit. There will never be a perfect time. There will never be universal applause. But there will always be a moment, this moment, where you choose whether to rise or retreat. This is where most people fail. Not because they lack talent, but because they avoid ownership. because it's easier to blame than to build, easier to delay than to decide, easier to shrink than to step up. But when you act like you're on a mission from God, you stop outsourcing your power. You stop waiting for the right mood, the right people, the right stars to align. You become the alignment. You become the force. You reclaim your throne, not out of ego, but out of obedience. Because no one else was born with your exact fire, your exact story, your exact assignment. And if you don't own it, the world loses something irreplaceable. Every time you take full responsibility for your thoughts, your emotions, your time, your habits, you move from victim to vessel. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop living like life is happening to you and start living like life is happening through you. You rise not just for yourself, but for the ones silently watching, wondering if they're allowed to rise too. Let that sink in. There are souls connected to your courage. There are futures tied to your faith. So when you walk with conviction, you become a lighthouse in a world of flickering candles. Not because you had all the answers, but because you refused to stay asleep. Because you refused to wait for permission to be powerful. Because you heard the call and you answered with your life. There comes a point where the mission and the man are no longer separate, where the fire within you no longer flickers. It roars. You don't need reminders. You don't need pep talks. You are momentum. You are the discipline. You are the vision that keeps getting back up long after motivation has died. That's when the shift happens. That's when you stop chasing potential and start embodying power. When your days stop being filled with I hope and I wish and start sounding like I will and I must. You stop asking for ease because you've tasted what it feels like to burn for something. You stop chasing comfort because you know it only delays the calling. And when the distractions come, because they will, you don't entertain them. You starve them. You look them dead in the eye and say, not today. I've got something bigger to build. This is divine alignment. Not in theory, but in muscle, in marrow, in your very breath. You don't need to scream that you're on a mission. Your presence declares it. The way you wake up, the way you walk, the way you speak life into a room that's gone cold. It's not about being loud. It's about being locked in. You move with intention. You eat with discipline. You rest with purpose. Because even your stillness is strategic. And suddenly, every step you take has weight. Every word you speak carries voltage. Because it's not just you walking anymore. It's the assignment walking through you. People feel it. They don't always understand it, but they feel it. And they either rise to meet it or they fall away. That's the cost of divine acceleration. Not everyone will keep pace, but you weren't called to slow down. You were called to lead, to break cycles, to stand for something, to walk with a code even when no one's watching. And this code, this internal standard you live by, it becomes your legacy, not your bank account, not your followers, but the energy you carried, the lives you awakened, the truth you refused to betray. You were not sent here to play small. You were not created to tiptoe through life, hoping not to offend, hoping not to fail. You were sent here to shake the ground you walk on, to stir the souls of the silent, to awaken something ancient and unbreakable in every room you enter. So if you've been walking like you're unsure, stop. If you've been waiting for someone to give you the green light, this is it. Your life is not a rehearsal. This is the moment. This is the page where the story turns. This is the day your spirit stops apologizing for its power. You don't need more signs. You need more conviction. You don't need more time. You need more decision. You don't need permission to rise. You need to remember who you are. You are the one your bloodline waited for. You are the one your younger self prayed you'd become. You are the one who walks not in fear, but in fire, not in chaos, but in clarity. Because when you walk like you're on a mission from God, every breath becomes a decree, every move becomes a message, and every obstacle becomes a test of whether you truly believe. So believe. Believe harder than the doubt. Believe deeper than the fear. Believe so fully that the universe has no choice but to rearrange itself to match your energy. You must stop watering down your mission to make it more acceptable. You must stop dimming your fire to make others comfortable. Your intensity is divine, your vision is sacred, and your refusal to quit is the proof that you were chosen for this. Now rise, not later, not someday. Now stand like the world is watching, because it is. Speak like your words carry weight, because they do. Move like the future depends on your momentum, because it does. This isn't about hype. It's about honor. It's about honoring the fire God placed inside you. It's about showing up every single day as if the Creator himself handed you an assignment and said, I trust you with this. Because he did, and he does. Now take the first step. Speak your vision aloud. Move your body with power. Show the world what it looks like when a human being walks in full alignment. This is your mission. Act like it. The world makes way for those who dare to rise. Click the Rise button now to subscribe and claim the destiny waiting for you. Your time is now.